Asset, my fellow brothers and sisters on the planet. A few of my friends have reached out to me, asking me my point of view or my realizations on the pandemic that's going and the racial uproar that's in our country and around the planet. And I was just thinking about it and been meditating on it, and I got these realizations, which I think would be a benefit for everyone else. It's not the all in all, but at least it gets us to look at it in a different perspective. I've, many people regard me as a guide, a teacher for them, and at the same time, I'm in a male's body and I'm in a African descent body, and so I live in a country where there's uproar, and so just looking at it from a point of perspective of how I live my life, I understand that everyone is a spiritual being, but we start to identify with so many things other than that, and our level of consciousness depends on our psychic upbringing. So whichever part of the planet you're born, we're trained and develop certain patterns and think certain ways, and we have certain biases and judgments. That's natural. But then at one point, something triggers us to go on this spiritual journey and to rise above it. And once you're born in a certain culture or with a certain body type, you will inherit the history of that body type. So in our country right now, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration with the suppression of the African American personalities, and they are just people. I understand when I look at the news, I just see souls who are just trying to be loved, and that ability is there in everyone's heart to love someone and to give love to others. That's the nature of our spiritual self. Once you're born in an African American body, you are inheriting in this country, 4 years of slavery, 4 years of exploitation, 400 years, sorry. And so, and then look at it and trying to solve it. So everyone is trying to solve it, but the puzzle is so complex. And to look at it from a spiritual point of view, the yogis understand that, if you take a African American male, an African American female, and you have a Asian male, Asian female, you have a Caucasian female, Caucasian male, and you have these 6 personalities, and they age gracefully, and they all reach to 100 years old, and old age comes in naturally. Because once we take birth, that's the sure. It doesn't matter who we are. Across the board, we're going to age and we're going to die. And in the yoga culture, when someone dies, we cremate their bodies. And if we were to cremate those 6 bodies and the ashes come back, they're not labeled, you won't be able to tell which one was Asian, which one was African American, which one was Caucasian. So that tells us the person within it is beyond that designation. And it just takes a level of consciousness to be evolved a little bit more and recognize that there's a lot of economical disadvantages for someone born in the African American body. And that's the system which you inherit. And I think that's what a lot of people, they want equality. But economical equality will just solve it to a certain degree. What I've explored the mind, I understand a lot of these people also have mental, there's a lot of tarnished mental anguish in the mind. So we would have to also need to heal the mind. And the yoga culture recognize when we can learn how to relax the mind. So a lot of the psychological mental balance will have to go on both white mentality and African Black mentality. So both sides of the coin, people have to go through a whole mental purification where they can become inner peaceful, inner calm. And the yogis teach when we can remove all these mental stresses, then we can get a glimpse of our higher self. and the higher self as a spiritual being, that being which is animating this body right now, which is totally separate from the earth, water, fire, air, ether body. That being, when my mind gets calm, I'll get a glimpse of that spiritual being which generates pure love. So both parties on both sides of the coin, they're looking for that spiritual love, but the mind has to get purified. Then we have to also address the intellectual level, right? That the intelligence of the human being must get purified to recognize, hello, it's just a skin pigment. If you were to take a knife and you cut me, my skin, or a Caucasian skin, or Chinese Asian skin, you'll still see red blood. It doesn't matter who we are. So let's raise our vibration that it's just a skin pigment, and we are more beautiful beings than just earth, water, fire, air, ether. And because it's been so long and we've inherited this dynamic of white and black for over the 400 years, it takes a while before we can come back. But at least now there is progress. People are voicing their opinions. But I've also understood that we're on the planet. But before 400 years before slavery started, there were more powerful beings on the planet who used to generate from the spiritual being, spiritual place. So once we take birth, we're also inheriting that spiritual force from our great ancestors. We just have to tap into that pure love, which is there in the spiritual. And then we can start to love each other, where we can come to a point and not just love each other, but understand we are so connected with each other. We have a planet karma. We're all on the planet at the same time, and we're inspiring each other or devolving each other. I exhale. The plant turns my carbon dioxide into oxygen, produces the oxygen. A Caucasian person inhales it. My Caucasian friend exhales carbon dioxide. The plant turns it into oxygen. My Asian sister inhales the oxygen. We're so connected through the breath, and we depend on Mother Earth. But somehow there's this false sense of superiority to another race. But at the end of the day, once you take birth, we're all gonna get old, age, dwindle, and die. It doesn't matter which race we are, because that's the nature of the body. So it takes a level of intelligence to get purified as well. And then the mind has to get retrained about self-love to each and every one. And then we can start to, then the economic balance will come back into play. Because if we were to give every one of the protesters right now $1 million each, that ain't going to solve the whole deep issue. There's a lot of mental anguish as well. So there have to be techniques to relax the body, relax the mind, let people understand they can purify their inner environment. We might not be able to change the external environment, earthquakes, hurricanes, exploitation, but we can purify the inner environment when we can connect to this powerful emotion of love. And when that's there, then we can be an amazing leader, because it starts from the top. And each and every one of us are a leader to a certain degree. Maybe you're a leader for your family, you're a leader for a group of friends, you're a leader for a political party. But if that person is mentally, spiritually, intellectually balanced to connect to the pure love in the heart, then understanding we're getting so much love from God right now in the form of oxygen. No human can claim oxygen. No human can claim I'm creating oxygen. And that's what's keeping us alive, our breath. No human can claim I can create the sun. No race can say this is our sun. No, we're getting so many gifts from the sun. No human, doesn't matter which race, can claim they created the moon. No, that's God's love from the sun and moon and the earth. No race can say we own the earth, we claim the earth. So with all these ignorance removed, then we can get into a spiritual place and say, wow, there's God's love around constantly. God's love unconditionally giving us the sun, the moon rays, the earth with water, fruits, vegetables, and fellow humans to live on this earth. If we were just on this earth by ourselves, we would be so unhappy. So why not embrace God's love in the form of his children's as well? And it just takes a while for us to get there, but those are just some of my realizations that, it took a while to where we are right now with all the tension and anger, and it'll take a while to revert it, but we cannot solve the material issue with another material issue. The tension has to be solved with a spiritual platform. And the only spiritual platform that's dynamic is that force, that energy, which we call love. We just put that English word on it, but it's a powerful force which can bring people together to raise the vibration. It's a spiritual answer to our material problem. And if we can start to love each other and see ourselves not superior, inferior to anyone, and that's what everyone wants. It doesn't matter if someone is obnoxious or someone is so humiliated. Both parties are looking for this powerful force in there, and it's there. That love is there, but it has to take a while to cultivate it, and we need to be like-minded people to raise our vibration to that place. So, in that note, I'm just saying, I'm in this country, I'm affected by it, but I don't react the same way because I look at it from a different perspective. I mean, I've lived all over the planet. I lived in Hong Kong, Australia, India, everywhere I go. Racism exists on the planet. You can't hide from it. You can't run from it. I've experienced it so many ways, but I've chosen to empathize with people's ignorance, and I've chosen to still love those from a distance. And then, hopefully people can evolve. I'm not living in a utopia that think the whole world will become free from it, but at least I can set an example of how to how to live from a loving space and also a intellectual space. Understand? But we're really 100 years from now, all these names are just names. All the people who are making a big fuss, but we shouldn't agree with the exploitation of another living entity. So we want to protect each other. We want to raise the vibration of each other. We want to make there be spiritual balance, intellectual balance, mental balance, equality balance. Even, we're just not, besides the racial gender, there's also the gender, male, female inequality on the planet. So once we can solve all those if we come from the heart space. And, it'll take a time, but, we just have to replace our psychic conditioning gradually. And it starts with appreciating that we are all being loved right now, every one of us. God's love is there for every one of us, and we can see it in the form of oxygen, the planet we are living on together. We're moving through space on one beautiful planet. It's amazing, right? Here we are on this planet, moving through space right now. And this planet is like a spaceship that has over 9 billion people on this spaceship, and it's moving through space. So why not? If we live on a spaceship, we would make sure we take care of everything properly, treat each other nicely. So let's get that realization that we here on this earth planet together, and let's heal the planet. Let's heal our consciousness, recognize what's happening on a deeper spiritual level, and associate with each other like we're meant to be, because this pure love is there. And in the process, I think I'll do a yoga class and a charity class, a yoga and kirtan class with one of my good friends, Janavi, just to raise some funds to give back to the Black society, to see if that can help in any way. I can only do so much. I'm just one being, but trying to do my part and try to raise the consciousness for others. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you.